Welcome to Behind the Muscle podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Jay Slates. Jay, welcome to the podcast, my man.
Hey, how's it going? It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's going well, dude. I know that you're 10 days out from North Americans, so I'm excited to kind of get into how this prep's gone and kind of talk North Americans. But before we do, I want to kind of get a little bit of your backstory. So the first two questions I kind of want to start off with, I kind of start each podcast off with these questions. The first one, Jay, is who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
Okay, I like that question because one of them is what got me started in bodybuilding. My favorite bodybuilding, people are going to be shocked on this one. And when I met him for the first time at the Indy Pro this year, I felt like a little girl and how shocked I was seeing him. Bob Chicarello. And he was number one. I'll explain that in a minute. But Bob Chicarello, like, he was the first bodybuilding video I ever saw. And that's basically what got me started in it. And it's like I love the saying that he started with that I first heard from him was like, doesn't matter how much you lift, it matters how much it looks like you can lift. And after that, I was like, I got so motivated about bodybuilding through him. And second, Jay Cutler. Third, Flex Wheeler. I've always liked Flex Wheeler's structure. He puts like an art to it. Jay Cutler, he also has a great art to his body, and that's what I like about him. Four is definitely Dorian Yates. He's the one that brought the size to bodybuilding, and that's what I liked about it. Is when Flex Wheeler came in, he kind of came in, and Dorian Yates, they still kept the art to it, but brought the size, and that's what I liked about those guys. And this one, it's gonna sound corny, but my good friend Dan Decker, IFBB Pro, I look up to him. He's like a mentor to me. He's like the only pro. Ed Nunn was the first pro bodybuilder in my location area, but Dan Decker is like the person I actually know that became pro. I remember when I was hearing about him when I got into bodybuilding, I count him as one of my favorites just because he's my mentor. He's a great guy.
Love that,
Yeah.
man. Now I've got to make sure that I make this uh, evident to everybody. You are the first person that's ever brought up Bob Chick as your favorite bodybuilder. I
I
love it, man.
know.
It's
I
completely
know.
out of the box, but it's good. So
I know. I feel so corny because, and I met him, and it's like it was great meeting him because that's basically starts my story of bodybuilding is with him. Is you want me to get started? I can tell you everything.
no, we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay.
I want you to tell us, Jay, at what age you started lifting weights, and then why did you start lifting weights? Now, don't go into your bodybuilding story at that point. Just like what age did you start lifting weights? When did you first pick up the weights? And then why? Was it for sports or was it for something else?
It was for sports. In high school, I was on and off, like lifting weights. I was always just like playing like football or wrestling, and I would lift weights every so often in school. But like, got serious my senior year of football, and I made sure like I lifted weights all throughout going into my senior year of football. And that's kind of like when I really got serious. And then, of course, after lifting all those weights to get ready for football, I played football, and then after that, basically, that's when the journey started with weightlifting.
Okay, excellent. So, before we kind of get into the lifting weights and the bodybuilding and all that, I want to kind of learn a little bit more about like your upbringing, your childhood. So, tell us if you don't mind, Jay, like where did you grow up? Talk about some of the sports that you played. Talk about maybe family dynamics, any positive, negative influences in your life when you were younger, up to about high school, and then I've got some questions that kind of transition us past high school.
Okay. Yeah, everything basically when I was 6, I was diagnosed with leukemia. I had cancer, not full remission until 12. And 8, I had a really hard seizure from chemotherapy. and it damaged my brain. And in 2016, throughout my life, I've been having seizures. And in 2016, I ended up having brain surgery, and it was going pretty good for a while. I was seizure free for going on 2 years. It came back, and then I've been still kind of keeping it all good in control. But it happens every so often. And I've just, throughout my life, I've always, battled with trying to overcome stuff like that, just staying healthy and not, it's troubling. I guess is the way to put it. You know, didn't get to play sports at all until I was in sixth grade. Like, I want to basically, my life story is kind of how I got into sports, to bodybuilding. So when I had leukemia, I was in the hospital all the time, and my dad liked to watch Michael Jordan. We watch the Bulls, this and that. And I really didn't know too much. I wasn't going to school that much. I didn't think of like being a doctor or anything. I was always thinking, I don't want to be like Michael Jordan. I want to be a pro basketball player. I realized I'm not good at that. And I didn't get to play. I didn't get to play sports until sixth grade. And usually, if you're going to be playing sports for like that type of sport, you start young and you keep working up. I didn't get to do that. And so then, football came along when I was in sixth grade. I finally was like, hey, I want to play football, because I always looked up to my uncle. He used to play football, and he was going to college playing football, this and that. And I was like, I want to do what he does. I want to play a sport, because I didn't know anything else besides sports really in my life. So it went from basketball to football. And I played football for, from sixth grade to my senior year. And then after that, I was going to go to college to play football. But more struggles throughout my life. In my sophomore year, had to get checked for testicular cancer. I was on the field. And I literally tackled this guy. This guy's knee went right in that bad spot. And next day, some stuff wasn't going right. Had to go to the hospital. Found scar tissue there that had to get checked for testicular cancer. Came out negative, and but then things got better, and I still played. I had made varsity my sophomore year, and then it was like at the end of the season is when that happened, and I just had to take the rest. I was like, I think I missed one game, and then I had the surgery, and then my junior year, it's like it was all right. I was gonna be like a big name on playing football, and my junior year wasn't the best year, mainly because that's the year it was injury after injury. My hip, my shin, and it was a little difficult, and but I still pushed through that. And then it was like I need to be better. And my senior year, that's when I was like really like, all right, I need to get hard into weightlifting, get ready for my senior year playing football. And that's when I dominated. It was my senior year. And I told myself I always want to be a pro athlete. So I was thinking, okay, basketball wasn't going to do it, football. And then, as I got older, like in there, I was like, I just don't see possibly going pro. But so I got into a lot of exercising and all that stuff. But I really was, what I wanted to do was actually be a special ed teacher. That's actually what I was doing, because I had lots of nice teachers homeschool me. And they all helped me. I was like, I want to do what they do, but then it was like, then, athletics came into the mix. I'm like thinking, okay, well, why not like a gym teacher or this and that? And then I went to college, started playing football, and again came back, checked for testicular cancer. Again, I was 2 weeks. I was gaining all of that size, and went on the field for 2 weeks, and it just, stuff wasn't going right down there. It started to get really swollen, didn't get to, and it's like I had to stop, kind of. I talked to the coach, and I told him about my situation, and I did get everything checked. Came out negative. It was just some built up scar tissue, but needed to be in control, keep in watch. And this is kind of what started me in bodybuilding. I'm going to go a little part of that right now is, I was 2 weeks on the field and I got ready for football hard by meeting a guy in the gym, and he was like really into weightlifting, bodybuilding, weightlifting. It was like totally different than how football weightlifting was. So I got addicted to that. I'm like thinking, okay, I'm going to make size doing this training. I was doing it nonstop, nonstop, nonstop. And I was making results. And then, I was like, okay, I had to put the weightlifting aside because, we got to get on the field, play football. You stop that, you go to the field work. And that 2 weeks that I was on the field, I lost all that size and I had to take a break because of the swelling down there and everything. And then I told my coach, it's like the doctor says I could play. What's the idea? It's like, what do you think I should do? He says, I'll redshirt you. But if I see you in that weight room, if I see you in that weight room and I see you lifting weights and you want to be on this field, I'll get you on the field. I won't redshirt you. I was like, all right, I'm down. I love to lift weights. I get lifting weights. I get in there. Now there is the field, and then there's like the gym, and then the people come off of the field into the gym, the locker room, and then past the gym. These word got around saying that I was just being a wimp and pussy and couldn't handle that on the field. And I was going insane on how I lost all that muscle, all of it. Because like 2 weeks, probably like all the water from creatine. Back then, we're all addicted to supplements. Because that was like '09. That was when Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman. I remember it was like the Halo creatine. That's like how I got really into like learning different types of exercises from all these people. I remember there was like every pro bodybuilder had like an arms, like Ronnie Coleman would have all his legs, Jay Cutler his back, or his Dorian his back, chest for also, you get what I'm saying. I was like, it's been forever. And I'm like getting addicted to this, and I'm like thinking to myself, all right, I lost all that, and I need to get back into the weight room. And them downing me motivated me to say, you know what? I don't want to be part of that. They can down me. I was listening to my coach telling me what to do. And they're telling me, oh, look at this wimp. He can't make it on the field, but he can be in the weight room. I'm like, you know what? I lost all that size. And if you know how bodybuilders are, if we lose size, we're going nuts. It's like, dude, we're like, if we get an injury, we take a few months off. It's like, what am I looking at? Is that even me? You can go insane. And 2 weeks of losing all that, and then saying like I could possibly be back on the field if I get in the weight room, and then them downing me. And it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of that. And guess what? 3 years, they only won one game. It's like, and that year I made the best choice of not playing for them, not just because it went into my bodybuilding career, but there was a guy. They would play their games on Fridays. The quarterback on Thursday night. They were those Thursdays where they're like, relax, train days. Thursday night, day the night before the game, got drunk and arrested. He didn't get so he didn't play the next day, and the whole team had to suffer and run 17 miles. And I say, I thank God I did not choose to be part of that team, or I would have been dealing and suffering with that with them. And I just remember it's like I just kept on grinding with bodybuilding, and it was like I felt like this was my calling, was to go there because of how addicted I was getting with weightlifting. And I continuously was learning more and more and more about my body, different types of training, muscle confusion. And that's actually what I'm really about, is muscle confusion for building muscle and bodybuilding. And then I when I was there, I was like weightlifting and everything, and I was getting into bodybuilding, but I didn't know when I was going to compete exactly. And I just told myself, man, I'm going to do it. I things got difficult at college because it's expensive. I did a full year at my college, and then I couldn't even afford a full year for the next year, but only a semester. So that year, that first semester I took off, I was like, all right, it's time to let's do a bodybuilding comp. Let's do a bodybuilding. And the big reason why I did it is actually to kind of prove them that I would do it. They started saying, "Oh, you don't have the courage to do that." But I didn't know if I was going to stick with it because I just loved lifting weights. Because I still went back to college. I was like thinking, okay, because I started out with exercise science, one of my colleges, and then I went to another college and did kinesiology. So I'm thinking, it was kind of more of a mindset. I was like, I'm gonna, and then I did it, I competed, and it was fun. I placed last, didn't do good at all. I didn't have a coach. I didn't know what I was doing. I used to, like I said, I used to wrestle. I thought it was like, okay, it's the idea of a starvation mode, high cardio. That's what I thought it was, and just lift weights. That's what it was. And that doesn't work. You actually got to eat. And then I ended up going to college, my other college, and I really don't want to say the names. And went there, and like I said, I had a seizure starting at 8 from the chemotherapy that damaged my brain, and also all throughout, I should have never played football in the first place because I'd have tiny aura seizures. It's just you kind of days off like that. There was so many times throughout my football career I had them, but I was so dedicated to playing. I should never have played, never, because that just continuously made it worse. I mean, it was crazy. It never happened on a game, but it would happen during practice. I just kind of days off, have a seizure, and be like, oh, where am I at? And then I'd have a headache, and I'd still be on the field. And I was a D line, so it's like I'm always head on head with people. And then I go to my next college, and I was having trouble. I was having 10 to 15 seizures a month in college. And it was getting hard to take the classes serious, like English, math, all that stuff. But when it came to my exercise science classes and kinesiology classes, I took those serious, passed them all. But the other ones, I didn't really take it serious because, I mean, me, how I see it now is like, why do you go to college to learn about all that stuff when it's for a career? Eh. So I finished my that year and I talked to my doctor, told him everything. I was just nonstop having seizures in college too. And by meaning like they're small aura ones and they could happen constantly. It's just like a days off and it's like, ugh. And then a days off, ugh, and it could happen throughout the day plenty of times, and it's just hard. I'd have to sleep a lot. And then when I got home, the doctor said, "It's like, well, I want you to take a year off of college. All right, just try to relax, maybe go get a job, do something. Um, and then after that, go back to college. But I'm not going to allow you to go to college on a campus. You're going to have to go to community college." And that's when it happened. When I said, you know what? I got so addicted to weightlifting because if I wasn't in the classroom at my college, and if I wasn't in class at college, I was in the weight room. I was just training. I was learning more and more on my own, all that stuff. And then I just came home and I was like, you know what? I competed once. I loved it. I want to keep grinding in bodybuilding. And then I went. That was like 2010. I first competed, and then I competed again in 2013, then 2014, then 2015. And then I didn't get to compete in 2016 because that's when I ended up having brain surgery. Uh,
Okay. So there's a lot that I kind of want to unpack from what you just shared, Jay. But I don't want to spend too much time, on the like kind of the cancer and the seizures. But that is something I feel like as you are sharing that with us, it's definitely an aspect of your life that can really impact other people. So if you don't mind, I just want to ask you. I mean, to have cancer at 6 years old, spending a lot of time, I'm assuming, in the hospital and things like
oh
that.
yeah,
How did your parents approach that? Because that is a very uncommon childhood, right? And then dealing
yeah.
with the seizures and stuff. How did your parents present those struggles to you, or how do they talk to you about that?
Well, my family is a very strong, devoted Christian family, and we always put God first, and that's basically how we got through it. And I still number one with God every day. And we just prayed so much, and that's what we need to do to get by, and they would explain to me, it's like, we just need to keep staying strong, keep going forward, and here I am. Is the best way to put it.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the seizures, is that something that you still struggle with to this point or not?
So I was, yes and no. I had brain surgery in 2016, and then I was going close to 2 years seizure free, and then came back. And then I competed in 2017, and I didn't have seizures. I ended up having a seizure in 2019. I ended up coming back to compete again on my own. I've never had a coach, by the way. I've done this on my own. And I competed in 2017, and I was like thinking, all right, did good there. And I qualified for nationals, and then 2018, being in Michigan, I don't know if you know what happened. But in 2018, Michigan had a flood in my area, and like being epileptic throughout my life, I'm not allowed to live alone. I do now, but I was living with my parents at that time in flood, and then ended up moving out into a hotel to live there because I took the house. So then I was going to compete for a national comp in 2018, but because of that flood, I ended up not competing. And then I ended up having seizures again. I was going on 2 years seizure free. It was, what was last? August? I think it was August of, no, August of 2018. I was like literally almost at 2 years seizure free, and it came back. And they ended up finding an area right here that's damaged and then seizures started to slowly come back. And then in 2019, I met my coach. I was getting addicted to lifting like hard again, real hard. I've always been strong, really strong. And I was just weightlifting, putting all these strong videos on Facebook and Instagram, and this guy was like posting on my videos, strong, strong. And who was it? It was Justin Harris, and we wanted to meet up and train with me. And we met up and trained together. And he was like, "You want to see me do 500-pound bench press?" So I could do that, and I was like, "Coach you." And it was like, it was like, all right, 500-pound bench press, I'll do it, legs up. I did one good rep, and then I did a pause rep with it. And then after that, we talked about it, and he coached me in 2019 for the first time. And throughout that prep, 2019, I had 14 seizures out of 20 weeks, and I still got on stage. And 10 days before my comp, I had a seizure, and I ended up in the ER 3 times throughout that prep.
So I guess the question that I have for you then, Jay, I mean, you said that, faith is something that's really important to you and your family. I mean, is that really who and what you lean on is God and your faith in terms of, just these continued physical ailments or physical struggles?
Yeah, number one, you got to live in the moment. I always tell people, be still, be still. The past is done. The future doesn't exist. We're here now in the light, one with God. God is not in the past. He's not in the future. He's here now, one with us. And it's like, that's how we have to live every day. And like, I'll get saying that a lot. So, because people always will ask questions. I'm sorry, I might say the same thing. You always just got to be still, live in the moment.
Cool. All right. So let's transition into all things bodybuilding. Then you've kind of led us in that direction already. You said your first show was 2010, and you said you prepped yourself. It didn't go very well, but I want to ask you. I mean, what is it you feel about bodybuilding, Jay, that has really pulled you in, and that you love so much about bodybuilding specifically? Because there's one thing to go to the gym, lift weights, see some progression, but Why do you love bodybuilding so much?
You know what I really love about it is just I love to perform on a stage. I create a routine and I love the cheers. I like to just show them how you can just put a flex on with you get a song, you hear the lyrics, you hear the rhythm, you put a flex with that lyric, you put a flex with that type of rhythm. And I love to show that to the crowd because I love them to not be bored. I mean, we're in this state of bodybuilding. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but we're in a state of bodybuilding where we're robots. You know, I can't stand it. I want them to put rhythm, motion to it, have fun with it. You know, I'm not saying break dance, but it's like if you hear a song, you're just, it's like looking at your arm, like stuff like that. People are, mm, mm. But that's what I love about it. I can't tell you how many times I'm listening to a song, maybe hundreds and hundreds, thousands and thousands throughout a prep just to put a routine together. And I love to show that to the audience because it's you get 1 minute and 10 seconds on stage, make the performance the best of the night. Because even if I may not win the comp, they're always going to remember that performance. That's what I love about it.
Cool. Perfect. Okay. So, when did you, your first show, in 2010, was that NPC or was that some other, organization?
It was NPC. It
Okay.
was a Central Michigan comp.
Okay, cool. So why don't you, unpack your competition history a little bit more? You said that I think you said you qualified for, a national level show. What year was that? 2018 or 2019?
In 2017, I got, oh my gosh, I've never done good in a comp. I've never won, but I love to do it. So I guess I can go throughout like every single placing I've done. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Like obviously 2010, I didn't place. 2013 got second out of two people, so last place. uh, 2014 is when I did my best. I've done this all on my own. 2014, I like I said, I used to be a wrestler, so I would mainly calorie count. That's actually when things started to get a little bit better on how I did my dieting, and I did this all on my own. And I think it was the Xfinity, and then the Ironman, and then the Western comp in 2014. I did three comps that year because I was just so and wanted to compete and just keep going, getting better and better. And I did. Every single comp I've done, I have improved though. I always have. So I got second at the Xfinity out of three people. Then this was the best I ever did, and I'll never forget it. And I love it. And I did this on my own, and I did the Ironman, and I got fifth out of nine people. I was shocked that I even beat out anybody, you know. And I barely knew how to really do. I mean, I knew I worked a lot on my posing on my own. I did get better over time on my own. You got to think, man. I was having health issues. I didn't know. When you have epilepsy, you can't drive. I didn't know anything about coaches, anything. All I knew about is you go to the gym, you train hard, and you diet. I didn't know anything. I was doing everything on my own and learning it all on my own. And then 2014, then I did the Western, and I got fifth out of five people. That one I kind of struggled with because, oh my gosh, like I said, I was calorie counting. Started out at like 3,500, and then like this is how I do it. Oh, I look at it now. I was like, I'm never doing this again. It's just starvation mode. And I just got to the point where I couldn't handle the starvation, and it was just going from like 3,500, drop 200 calories, then for 2 weeks, drop 300. 2 weeks after that, 300, 200, 300, 200. And then that last 6 weeks, I had 6 weeks. I did the Ironman, and then I had 6 weeks to the Western. And I was like, okay, last 6 weeks. All right. Like that last 2 weeks before the Ironman, I was at 1,500 calories.
Hmm.
Then I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's like I placed fifth. All right. Out of nine people, I need to do better. all right, let's drop the calories down to 1,200 for six weeks.
Mm.
That got so hard to where it was making me even eat, like make bad decisions on meals. It was actually making it worse. So I actually ended up coming looking worse that time. And I actually, but I didn't know how to really do anything. And I did it all on my own because I remember when it came down to, like I said, wrestling, to burning fat and everything, it was just count your calories, drop your calories. That's how it was. So it was like I was kind of having that way. It was going good in the beginning, but your body can only handle, you can only handle that so much. Then 2015 is when I started learning more and more about macros, you know, and doing my own thing with macros. Because when I was in college, it was more about learning about the body. I never really did nutrition classes. I think I was more like learning about the body with muscle. I'm building growth and specific stuff like that. I never did really nutrition classes on eating and stuff. So then in 2015, I started to learn more about macros and get away from calories. And a friend introduced me to MyFitnessPal, and I learned that. And then I started focusing on. I was like, okay, let's start, instead of dropping calories, start dropping macros. So what I would do is I would do the, like, okay, your body weight of protein, and then 2 times the amount of carbs of what you weigh, and then a quarter of fats of what you weigh. And I did that, and I dropped. And the thing is, I actually did look that I actually improved that year, and I looked better. I looked more solid, looked more swole. And I was like, okay. Then I was gonna actually get ready for comp in 2016. I was gonna do the same thing I did in 2014 and 2015. I did the Ironman, then I was gonna do the Central, then I was do the Western. But throughout that time of I was having seizures still all throughout prep, every single time prep. 2014 having seizures during prep, 2015 seizures during prep, and ended up seeing my doctor after the Ironman because we were doing meetup, see how my seizures are going, and I just finished Ironman, and then I was going to do the Central Michigan. But before I did that, I had to see my doctor, and I was like, we're going to get you ready for brain surgery. So it's like, all right, I shut it down 2015, didn't compete the rest of that year. And I didn't know when it was going to happen. And I had to do all these tests. And I was going to still compete 2016. But the comp I wanted to compete in, I was literally getting ready for it. And the comp I wanted to compete in was going to be brain surgery. And they scheduled me brain surgery. And then there was my comp after that. I took, I went, I took the, I felt like it was best to just have brain surgery because it was just getting to a point where it was so painful. Because um, when I counted it in the math of that, in 10 months from brain surgery in 2016, I had 110 seizures. And so I didn't compete in 2016. And that was a very hard year. Um, that one was very painful. And then after that, I during that, I don't know, I could go to that. That was pretty extreme. Uh,
You share whatever you want to share. This is your story, man. We just appreciate you sharing it.
yeah, so in 2016, it was a very most struggling time because I had to take all these tests. One of the first tests was a seizure evaluation, and I had to be in the hospital, U of M, for a whole week, just having seizures nonstop to test where they were coming from, and that was like really, really painful. Then during that time, I had the WADA test. It was a test where they put a catheter in your hip and it's a little camera, and they put it in an artery right there. That this artery, huge vein, would go all the way up to see your brain. I was seeing my brain. Now they put anesthesia. I'm not asleep. They put anesthesia to put one side asleep, and they would ask me questions like say this is a car, piece of paper. Like, Justin, what is this? What is that? And they would be looking at my brain as they would ask me those questions. So when they put this side asleep, to do the test on this side, I had the most worst reaction to where I stopped breathing. My heart felt like it was going to just explode. They didn't know what was going on. They said they couldn't stop though, because they already had all these chemicals in me. They said, it's like, Justin, what is this? I'm like, it's like I couldn't even say it, couldn't tell them, because the way this was damaged and how they put this side to sleep for this one to just work, they couldn't handle it. And it was like that was probably one of the most scariest, painful moments of my life, and I'll always remember that one. That one was really painful. So what was horrible is like that catheter right there. It felt like that was all right there, and it was gonna rip out. Just painful. And they put these chemicals in. It's like, okay, we're gonna put it to sleep. They say it's gonna burn, feel like a burn. And in 15 seconds, that's what you feel. It felt like hours, just burning, like my body was on fire. And it was, oh, dude, that one was just a very painful day. And then, of course, brain surgery happened. It was just it was 6 years ago, it was August 17th was brain surgery. Yeah, August, so 6 years since brain surgery in August 17th. And then, like I said, I started getting better after that. And I was like so motivated because I was like, I'm seizure free. I was like, all right. I had to take off so much time. It was like, it's 2017. All right, man, it's go time. Let's go. Um, then next thing you know, let me think, going back in history here. And then I got ready for a comp. I was like, okay, 2017, get ready for a comp. And I did the Ironman. And this, like I said, in my placing, I got second out of two people. Great, right? And then after that, I ended up having issues where, I've had 5 surgeries down there. I officially cannot have kids. It's just not possible. I had 5, and there was a situation that came up. It was like, well, we're gonna have to have surgery down there, and um, I said, well, can I do it after my comp? Because they said it was like, it's okay to do it after comp. It's not that bad yet. And then after that, that was the Ironman again in 2017. And I took the rest of the year off. And then 2018 happened. And I'm still seizure free for quite some time. I was all seizure free throughout 2017. I was feeling like, yes, life is amazing. It's like, yeah, I have to deal with that situation downstairs, but it wasn't like bad compared to this, because it was just scar tissue that needed to be removed. That was it. I'm not saying it was fun. It was freaking painful as fuck. But then 2018 came, and I was like, man, it's about to start. Let's go. Let's get right back into it. And I started grinding hard. I started making more results like crazy, because I went back, I learned, continuously learned. In 2015, like I said, I started learning more about macros, and I learned about fasting, intermediate fasting. And I made lots of results with that, with macro counting and intermediate fasting. So I got started on that with carb loading a lot and intermediate fasting in 2018, and I was just making crazy results, doing that. And at then the flood happened, and then, like I said, I moved in with a friend, and I wake up to him. He's over me, like, dude, are you all right? I didn't know what was going on. I looked down, blood's everywhere. Seizures came back. Just blood everywhere. And it was so devastating. I was going on 2 years. And next thing you know, trying to remember. That's also, my memory is really bad. I try not to think about it though at the same time.
You're 10 days out from competing
Yeah,
as well, so
yeah. So then what happened really was because the whole point was brain surgery. This is scar tissue that was causing it. So the question was, did I need seizure medicine, or was it just because of scar tissue? So the whole point was after brain surgery was to wean off my medicine, to get off medicine, because it's like probably didn't need it. That was the reason why. It was because it's damaged. My hippocampus and my amygdala were half the size they were supposed to be. The hippocampus is supposed to be like this long. It was half, like that. The amygdala is supposed to be like this wide. It was half, like that. And so it's like they remove that. We're thinking, okay, we're going to slowly like wean you off your medicine because we're figuring maybe that's just what was causing it. All right. So then, like, I was there. I was almost there off all my medicine. I got off all of them. One of them has the worst side effects ever. And I'm like thinking, okay, I get off my medicine and I'm almost there. I literally was there. I got off my medicine, I think, for like 5 days. Nothing came back. So then, like I said, things started getting worse. I needed to figure out where it was. And then in 2019, I ended up having another seizure evaluation to figure out what was going on because it was getting really bad. And that was after I ended up doing that after when was I ended up doing that again. I believe, no, it was before I met Justin because it started getting worse. And that seizure evaluation was really hard because as seizures continued to start getting worse, even though I got back on my meds. And I remember that seizure evaluation was probably, I'd say, the worst one because I had a hard seizure, really bad one, caused me to stop breathing for 4 minutes straight. And I didn't stop the seizure. The seizure didn't stop until 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And then after that, they found the area where it was, and it was damaged. Frontal cortex, whatever it's called. That one was damaged. This obviously is still. And then I did prep, like I said, with Justin Harris in 2019, and then seizures are bad. I had to do another seizure evaluation because the one in 2019 before I think me and him worked together was mainly to figure out where it is, what it is. Is it the brain waves, just the brain waves off, or what's going on? So they found out that was damaged, and then after Justin coached me 2019, that was I didn't place. I did the Western, but it was the best I ever looked, and I really, really felt so much better just taking all my thoughts away from it. Having a coach, working with a coach. Like I said, I didn't know anything about coaching, nothing. I was like, I remember some people telling me about it. I was like, oh man, you should get a coach. I was like, somebody train me? Like, dude, what? I know how to train. I know how to lift weights. I actually was a personal trainer too. I hate that. I hate it. And then before me and Justin started again, COVID happened. I had to have another seizure evaluation because seizures are getting worse, continuously getting worse. And the reason why I had to have another one was like, where do we need? Because it was talking about an RNS implant, if you know what that is. It's where they put like a little kind of like a magnet, a little plate right there. So if like a seizure comes on, it'll electric shock it and stop it. So they had to figure out, I had to do another seizure evaluation, and they had to do it in a different way to put like this type of dye in me. So when I'm having seizures, like, where are we going to put this thing? I was like, so they had to figure out exact spot where to put it. And I had that. And then, me and Justin worked together again, and I was going to compete. I competed for Mr. Michigan last year. After that, I was like, I got out of there. I was still having light amount of seizures, but things are getting better. And I got back working with Justin and basically, if I remember right after I got out of the hospital, in 2020 of October. And the first comp, we were just like saying, let's do Mr. Michigan. And I got ready for Michigan, and I paid them for a full year for up to North Americans. Yeah, North Americans. And first we wanted to qualify for nationals. The best I ever looked, Mr. Michigan. I was hoping to win. I was looking insane. I've never seen my body look like this before. His dieting and how I like it. It's more relaxed. It fits me. It fits me because I don't have to really think. I just have to do it. And then I did, but this is what I'm talking about. I haven't won, and I hate this. I hate it. Can I at least just beat out one person, please? I get second out of two people. It's like it's like the worst place to get second, last place. It's like the worst way to get second out of two people. But I qualified for nationals, so awesome, you know. And then I went into getting ready for North Americans, and I did that last year. And I can't remember. I think I was like 13 weeks out. We did that, and I was in a good relationship, and I was still going through like I was going through a lot of depression still because of seizures coming back, you know, and it was really hitting me hard. And I was ready for brain surgery again, and it was going to happen after uh, nationals. But then throughout that time, you know, I was going through a relationship, and you know, I wasn't taking it serious, and I was just so focused on bodybuilding, but I was also trying to escape from reality a lot. And I got addicted to marijuana way too much. Not like I'm against it, but it's like nonstop getting high to try to forget about all that shit that I'm going through and try to relax and try not to think, you know? And it was just taking so much time out of my life to thinking of just bodybuilding and getting high and not being one with her. So we ended up splitting up. And then, you know, I was just 7 weeks out from North Americans, found out she started dating another guy. And it just hit me hard because it's like, dude, I had something so good, but I'm falling here. And I'm not placing blame on her. I'm placing blame on myself. And I'm always going to do that. We can't, because finding yourself, you really can't place blame on others. You can't. You got to find yourself, you know. And uh, so 7 weeks out, finding that out, it hit me so hard, hard. And what it was I wasn't like the fact that she was dating another person. It was the ego in my mind. And who's in your mind with the ego is Satan trying to control your mind. And it was putting me down so much that last 7 weeks to where every day it was like, I don't give a fuck. Eat the meal, go through the motions at the gym. Eat the meals, go through the motions at the gym. Not like, let's go. It wasn't like that. So that last 7 weeks, I was just like, I didn't come in looking good. I came in looking real flat. I just wasn't motivated, but I wasn't going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I was going to finish it, but I wasn't really, I was just there basically, you know? And then I realized I got a call. I think it was, I had a call over the phone to talk to my doctor. I think it was like a week or two before my comp. I was going to be getting ready for brain surgery after my comp. I didn't even really pay attention to it, but I was over a year seizure free. I was like, so I talked to her and I was like, yeah, well, you're doing really good. I don't think we're gonna need brain surgery. I was like, hold on, what? I wasn't even paying attention. I was like thinking to myself every day. I literally was thinking to myself because of how much I was struggling. I was almost like thinking to myself, like, dude, because I remember when I had it, brain surgery, and after it, it felt like I restarted my life. And I felt like that's what I wanted to feel again. It kind of seems weird. It's like I wanted to have brain surgery to feel like that restart, to never suffer like that again. And then I realized how I'm over a year seizure free. Why am I something? It just didn't seem right. The fact that I kept on thinking this. So one thing I go back a little bit. One thing I was falling hard with my ex, and before I started getting ready for prep and I was in the hospital, had that seizure evaluation, and then my grandma passed, and that one would hit me hard. Like I said, my whole family is really religious, and I didn't know what was going on. Just things didn't seem right, and I realized, I don't know. First thing you need to do was not to hold on to anything, any type of resentment, and forgive. First thing I did was, you're supposed to start from the beginning, and I just had lots of thoughts, of bad thoughts, of like past with my parents, all this and that. And I felt like, the number one thing I need to do is go forgive. Start from the beginning, you forgive your mom, then go forgive your dad. So it was like I did that. Things started to get better. Things did. But then, like I said, my girlfriend split, and it just, that hit me. And I was like, it hit me hard when I found out she was dating. I called one of my friends, and it was like breaking down over this like a little wimp. And I told them, I don't know what's going on. I hate the fact that my grandma passed, all this and that. I brought up how it's like I did forgive I felt like I needed to forgive my mom. It just came out of nowhere. And I was like, dude, I just don't want to be alone. And he told me, he's like, dude, I never told you this, but I was going to go to college to be a reverend. He started talking to me. I'm like, huh. He was like, I don't want to be alone. It's like, well, you believe, right? He's like, yeah. It's like, if you have God in you, how are you alone? It hit me just like that, and things just went a 180, just like that. And it's just, I found myself like that. And I was still going through some things though. Things are still struggling because still wasn't getting off marijuana, because I still felt like I was trying to escape from the breakup and everything. And then I realized that, things started to get better, even though I was still on it. And I ended up, it's like this prep. I was like, dude, man, I remember in 2019, I stopped because I was like, edibles will make you feel so lethargic, so lazy. I stopped. And that's also a big thing. I would use it because I can't tell you how much it helped take it. I'm not against it at all. But I mean, it did helps take away a lot of the pain after seizures for sure. I will admit it helps, but it doesn't prevent it. And I just remember it's like, it's prep, gonna get ready for North Americans again. I remember I stopped in 2019. I felt more refreshed. I felt more energy. I felt better. I felt like I had like that. So it's like, all right, it's Easter Sunday when I start prep for North Americans. It's like, dude, man, I've been trying to find myself. I'm getting here. This is a calling. You know what? Let's just get off it, because it also makes you think nonstop. It's like I get ADHD on it. I can bounce from one thing to another and to another. That's what happens with it. And then I just realized, you know what? I I didn't need it. I didn't need it. I was using it to escape more than anything. And this prep has been the best prep, and it's the best ever I looked, being gone and forgiving, finding myself and knowing what I've done wrong, and being clean. And this prep has been the best prep I've ever done. I'm just totally realizing I need to get on a straight and narrow path.
All right, man. So let's kind of finish up our conversation.
Sorry I bounce around.
What's that?
Sorry that I bounce around.
Oh, you're fine, man. You're just sharing your story. It's all good. I just kind of want to finish our conversation today, Jay, with just talking about you're 10 days out from North Americans. Now, what show did you qualify for North Americans at? Did you compete earlier this year then, or what's your qualification to step on the North American stage this year?
It was last year on Mr. Michigan, placed in second out of two people. Wow. So I qualified for nationals, and I did Mr. Michigan, and then 13 weeks later did North Americans. And like I said, 7 weeks out, found out about my ex.
Yeah.
And then, I still had this year to compete for nationals, a national comp. and I got ready for North Americans, and here I am now, grinding hard. This is the best I've ever looked. I seriously just took a picture. What was the last night? I'm seeing my quad feathered like crazy and veins I've never seen before, and it's just I look insane. And I so glad I turned my life around on just realizing that if I want to take this serious, I need to be totally clear-minded. Totally. And one thing about bodybuilding I'm going to say before, if we change any subject, is I I want to get my pro card to be a pro, but my game plan, I said this, I did a guest posing a couple weeks ago. I want to be a pro just to compete. Right now, there's so much pressure on just trying to become a pro, but the reason why I want to be a pro is just to compete. I love to be on stage and perform and put a routine together. And like people say, is like, man, maybe take a year or two, get some size, because there's going to be some huge people. Dude, I could probably be the smallest person that's like, my game plan is if I was to win North Americans or qualify, I want to do the Indy Pro right next year. I don't care about winning. I don't. I want to compete. I want to compete, and I'll probably be the smallest guy there. I could be the most shredded, but I want to be on stage. I want to finally feel that pressure being not having to worry about winning to be a pro and just be a pro just to compete. Of course, I would love to win a comp. Of course, I'd love to go to the Olympia.
I can't hear
And
you.
if the Olympia, somebody just called me.
Yeah, no, you're good. Now I can hear you now. You're good.
So it's like that's what I want most out of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be a pro athlete, and basically I just want to be a pro athlete, and if winning comes with it, amazing. But that right now seems like it's going to be the most hardest pressure right now is just getting the pro card, because if you remember what Ronnie said, he just liked to compete just to compete. That's how I am. I just want to do it, but I want to do it without the pressure. And this is the pressure right now because next when become a pro, of course, every damn comp I want to look better. But we got to understand this is a beauty pageant here. It's up to the judges what they like, you know. And I just want to keep looking better, and I want to keep on getting on stage. I can't tell you how I just texted my friend the other day. It's like, dude, I've never been felt so amazing to suffer on what I keep looking at. It just feels amazing. It's like you like feeling that pain, dude. It's just something about it. I don't know. I love it.
So, why don't you just talk quickly here, Jay, about just your mindset? Because like you've said that, I mean, you've never won a competition up to this point. So what is your mindset going into North Americans, and what is your realistic goal for North Americans this year? Where are you at with that in your mind?
I just I just hope to look the best I've ever looked, and definitely would love to win. But I want to make sure everything is perfect. And I feel like this will be the year that every like day is gonna be perfect. Coming up to the prep, like it was crazy. Last North Americans, I ended up weighing in on that day, 226 pounds. Wait, I'm bigger now, and I weigh 218.
Mhm.
So it's like I didn't know what was going on right there. I was like I said, it wasn't really there. My glutes weren't really there. I've never seen my glutes as shredded before, and I just could tell like last year I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't there. And I'm even looking bigger and lighter than what I was last year, and like that right there shows that uh, crazy improvements.
Mhm.
It just motivates me right there. And like I said, I hope that I I don't ever really think about the comp of like what my placing will be, if I'm going to win or not, because we always got to live in the moment, like I've said. You know, that's what we got to do.
So, some of the other guys that you're competing against, do you kind of check their Instagram out and keep an eye on them, or are you just kind of fully focused on yourself?
I focus on myself. I I don't really look at anybody. You know, I do check. sometimes and see like, okay, who's that person? Where is they competing in? Who are that person? And usually like I never really find anybody. And it's either pro or it's like classic, physique, super heavyweight. You know, I do know one person that's going to compete. I'm going to compete against, and he's a good bodybuilder, all right. And I hope for the best, but I want to leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Now, well, there's a lot. I've had a lot of the guys that are going to be competing against you on the podcast, and there's just a great group of guys, great physiques, and it's going to be a great competition, just like USA's was here a few weeks ago. Now, to kind of close this out here, I want to just touch on your relationship with Justin Harris, and just tell us a little bit about just how has he changed your maybe outlook in terms of bodybuilding? How has he helped you develop as maybe a man, as a bodybuilder, and what does that relationship mean to you current day, Jay?
He really it really opened my eyes on how we needed to not make it so difficult. I was trying to think, okay, I need to do this type of meal, that type of meal, that type of meal, that type of meal. But he's just saying the most simple thing and it makes sense to me and it's always worked. Meat and rice. And it's like it makes sense. You know, I felt like, okay, this meal you had to eat that, this meal you had to eat that, that. This whole damn prep, and it's the best I've ever looked. I've done this every single meal, chicken and rice. That is it. That is it. And I've focused on the macros, and every single thing has been the same. And it just, I like, we need to keep it simple. And that's how I like it. And I'm like thinking to myself before I had a coach, like, okay, do I got to do this? Do I do that? Do this? Do that? And I just like how he keeps it simple. And I like what his mindset of, and I watch a lot of his stuff. Is like, we're not robots, you know, and he has this idea of carb load days and have one cheat meal. And people get shocked on my cheat meal. We get one cheat meal. I don't get one anymore. Not right now since I'm this close out. But people get shocked on my cheat meal. You're gonna be shocked on this one. I love chicken Caesar salad. I was like, that's a cheat meal for you, and blueberry muffins with it at
Simple,
Walmart.
right?
I I don't know, I love it, but the thing is, I like to get honey roasted cashews and mix it with my chicken Caesar salad. I love it. That's what a cheat meal is, and people get shocked. It's like, you have that? You don't want like a burger? You don't want to have something pizza? Oh, I don't know. There's just something about that I like that one. Or there's other ones, chicken almond cranberry sandwiches, uh, salad sandwiches. I love that. It's like, and the people are always sort of shocked on the healthy cheat meals I like to have. And it's just Justin's always been a good one, and he likes how I train. He's not he's never all he's just always he says, hey, like, dude, you just got to be the most shredded. Don't worry about really what size this is, that your weaknesses. We'll worry about the weaknesses when you go pro. You know, and I said to him, I was like, what do you think I need to improve on? And I asked him, he does said that, but it was like, do you think it's my back? He's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, what did I do? We have a carb load day it was twice a week. I'm bulking. And I would do legs and back. And this prep, last time I did prep, I did my carb load day on a leg day. I need to grow my back. Guess what? I've only done carb load days just on my back, and I've made crazy improvements on my back. Just doing that. And I was like, all you have to do is tell me what I need to work on. I don't have to listen to somebody, hey, do this type of weight training for this and that, this and that. No, just tell me what I need to work on, and I'm going to go extra hard on it. Even extra. Like, I actually did meet Hunter Labrada, and I did some poses with him, and he was like, what do you need to work? He's like, he was like giving me really good compliments. And he said a recommended emotion. I was like, just start making sure to get these lats and do deep pulls like that. He started telling me that, dude, that's all you needed to do is tell me that. I don't need you to show me. I don't need you to tell me to do this exercise, that exercise. Just do that. And I've done it. And that's what I did. And I've made improvements just like that.
Yeah. Simple but effective, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So the last question I want to ask you, Jay, and then I'll give you kind of the final word before I do a quick outro. Just, all of your life experiences, all of your bodybuilding experiences, if you could kind of wrap all of that up in, maybe one statement, or just sharing with us a little bit of wisdom, like what would you say to all of us that maybe you've learned through life up to this point that you just kind of want to put out there, to encourage us or to share with us, or get us to maybe think about something that you've had to go through?
Never give up. Just no ifs, ands, or buts. Never give up. And always make sure to live in the moment. Always remember that all thoughts are lies. When you get lost in your mind and start to overthink, like I said, the Christian values coming on me, that's Satan trying to deceive you. Use your heart strong to accomplish what you need to accomplish.
Excellent, man. Very powerful. All right. Jay, first of all, I just want to say thank you for taking some time out of your prep, your 10 days out from North Americans, to just kind of share your story, man. Come on the podcast, chop it up with me. I really appreciate it. Before I do a quick outro, like I said, if you have any shout outs, any final thoughts, any final words, make sure you give us your Instagram as well. The platform is yours, and then I'll wrap it up.
Give a shout out. Give a shout out to my best friend, Jeffrey Saigo. You know him?
I don't think so.
Jeffrey Saigo, my guy. He's the one that basically found me. If I wasn't here, if he didn't find me, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. In 2014, like I said, I did my prep all on my own. He contacted me after the Ironman when I placed 5th out of 9 people. Contacted me on Facebook. It was funny. It was a message. He was like, hey man, I'm done with some weird creep, but you have a great body. And I start talking to him. It's like, dude, you have a great physique. And then when I got to know him, told him about my life, we just became best friends. He always been supporting me there. He's been in the industry for so long. And if he didn't find me to get me more like known into bodybuilding, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. And he's like my great friend. And hopefully I have quite a few training videos. Jordan Jenowitz has done a lot of training videos. And I plan to do one here, I think either tomorrow or Wednesday. It's going to be arms. And that's one thing that I like to show off, is my arms are probably some of the biggest ones. I always get very compliments on my arms. They're pretty big. And I just got to give him a shout out for sure, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here. I'll give that a lot of shout out. And I still want to give a shout out to my guy, Dan Decker. He's my mentor for sure. And I got to give a lot of credit, a lot. And I'm going to continuously work with Justin Harris until I know everything is perfect. And we get there for my comps and everything. I'm not going to stop with Justin at all.
What's your Instagram?
Just Slates, or look up JUS, or look up Justin Slates. That's my birth name, but people know me as Jay in the bodybuilding world.
All right, man. Jay, thank you so much. I'm going to do a quick outro here, but I really appreciate you coming on. Okay.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. I love the fact that I did it. I always love to be genuine and be nice, kind to all people, and just encourage them all. This is what I love to do.
Yep. Excellent, man. All right. All of you who are tuning in to this episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. Again, if it weren't for all of you, the podcast wouldn't exist. Just quickly here, as we wrap up this conversation with Jay today, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. I just checked the YouTube just a little bit ago, and I believe we have 20 subscribers to go to get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. So if you haven't subscribed already, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. It's really important to be subscribed to BTM, because I release all these episodes first on YouTube, and then I'll distribute them to iTunes, CastBox, and some of the other major podcast platforms. So if you want to stay up current with Behind the Muscle podcast, make sure you are a subscriber on YouTube. And then one other quick favor I'd ask of all of you, please just take this episode with Jay, share it on your Instagram stories, make sure you tag Jay or Justin, and make sure you also tag Behind the Muscle Podcast, just so that we know you listened specifically to this episode and found great value in it, in which I know you did. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.